Hello there, my name is Sean, and this is the best new show of 2022. Okay, so for those who don't follow my Twitter, basically every year I do a series of polls to find the best new show of that year. I started doing this in 2020, the best new show of 2020. And basically what the idea is to find the best new show of each year of a decade. And then at the end of a decade, all the shows will compete to find the best overall show of the 2020s decade. So when we reach the end of a decade, these new shows will take on the likes of shows that already existed before the decade started, such as Doctor Who and Britain's Got Talent and Strictly Come Dancing and The Apprentice and various shows like that, to try and find the ultimate best show of the 2020s decade. So yeah, this year I did it again to find the best new show of 2022, and these essentially are the results of the polls that I did on my Twitter. So starting off with the first, what I call battles. Starting off with the first battle, we had Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, 7 Days on Mars, and Harry Potter Return to Hogwarts competing against each other. So Moon Knight came top with 45% of the vote. Then you had Ms. Marvel with 36%, Harry Potter Return to Hogwarts with 14%, and 7 Days on Mars with 5% of the poll. I actually kind of thought that Harry Potter Return to Hogwarts might have given stronger competition to Moon Knight, to be honest. So I was a little bit surprised at that, because Harry Potter, it's still got a very big fan base, and the Return to Hogwarts 20th anniversary celebration show was a really lovely little documentary by Warner Bros. And it was nice hearing from the stars of the original film, and also Chris Columbus and various people who were involved in the making of the Harry Potter movies and their experiences on the set of Harry Potter. So I did think it would give a bit of stronger competition to Moon Knight. It's not really a surprise that Ms. Marvel came quite close to beating Moon Knight. And I can't say I'm too surprised that Brian Cox's 7 Days on Mars didn't really offer much in the way of competition either, because it's a bit more obscure. Although it is a really great series. If you've not seen it, do check it out on iPlayer. It's basically Brian Cox, taking a look at the Mars mission of the rover on Mars, and this these 7 days that they sent the rover, the Mars rover, across the Mars surface to basically get various minerals on the Mars surface. It's a very interesting documentary. But yeah, I did expect Return to Hogwarts to do a bit more than it did. And then moving on to Battle 2, we've got She-Hulk with 54% of the vote, the 1% Club with 38% of the vote, So do that with Dinosaur the Final Day, 80% of the vote, and shockingly, The Boys Diabolical, which is the animated boys series, didn't even get any votes at all. That was only on 0%. Now, I'm not really surprised that the 1% Club offered quite a bit of strong competition when it came to the voting, because it was hugely popular when it was on. And Lee Mack did a really great job at presenting it. I thought he was an absolutely fantastic presenter of 1% Club, and I look forward to checking the series later in the year. It is a shame that Sir David Attenborough's Dinosaurs, The Final Day, didn't do a bit better, because it was a really great documentary, as you've come to expect from Sir David Attenborough. But I guess maybe not enough people watched it. But The Boys Diabolical, with only 0% of the vote, that is pretty crazy. I really thought that would have got more. It's The Boys, it's a big sort of cultural phenomenon. It's a surprise that the animated spin-off didn't get more of a vote. And then Battle 3. You've got Peacemaker with 50% of the vote. I just did a video about James Gunn's new DC slate. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. There's a second series of that coming up sometime soon as well, where I did say it's been delayed. And then there's All-Star Games with 20% of the vote. And then there's The Thief, His Wife and the Canoe with 20% of the vote. And then Seven Worlds, One Planet with 10% of the vote. So these nature shows really aren't doing all that well, really. It's kind of weird, because they're usually really popular, but it doesn't seem to be doing all that well here. It does make you wonder if maybe, there's just so many of them now that they've kind of split the fan base a little bit, in regards to those shows. The Thief's Wife and His Canoe, I'm not surprised, did fairly decent, because it was a, very good show. It was, kind of weird how much they managed to get away with Scam, but it was very, very interesting to watch. And then the fourth battle, we've got The Devil's Hour with 50% of the vote, Inside Man with 36% of the vote, Starstruck, the ITV one, not the BBC one, so the ITV Light Entertainment Stars in Their Eyes type game show with 7% of a vote. And Oti Mabuse, my South Africa, with 0% of a vote. Yeah, I'm not really surprised Inside Man gave quite a bit of competition to The Devil's Hour because it was such a fantastic series. David Tennant was so great in that more villainous part. He's really great at playing villains, and Stephen Moffat really did put a blind to the writing of that show. Quite Shakespearean, really, in a sense, but I did really enjoy it. Shame that Oti Mabuse, My South Africa didn't do a bit better because it was a really great documentary and it was interesting to learn a bit more about where Oti Mabuse is from. But again, I guess it's one of those obscure BBC documentaries, so maybe not many people watched it. And then, going on to Battle 5, we had the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, 55% of the vote. Great Seas of the World with 27% of the vote, and then I Am Groot at 9%, and Wim Hof's Freeze of Fear with 9% as well. Now this is, one of them that, I found quite surprising when I was following it, because Joanna Lumley's Great Seas of the World, at one point it looked like it might have won the poll against the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which is really weird, because I don't think that many people would remember the Joanna Lumley one. It kind of feels like it's disappeared into obscurity since it was on TV last year. But it was, very close between Great Cities of the World to begin with and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I kind of thought I Am Groot would do more, really, because I Am Groot is this really kind of sweet series about, Baby Groot going on his various small-scale adventures. So I was surprised that, I didn't get, more people voting for it, really. Especially when it basically came in the same place as Wim Hof's Freeze of Fear. I mean, that really flopped and it was on TV. It was quite a major flop. I'm not really surprised they're not doing another series. And then, Battle 6, we had A Year on Planet Earth that just basically stormed the votes of 64% of the vote. And then BGT The Ultimate Magician and Christmas Carol both tied at 14% in second place. And then Stay Close at 7%. So finally, we have a nature documentary series, doing well in the votes. BGC The Ultimate Magician didn't seem to do that well, especially when you think how popular Britain's Got Talent is as a talent show. It's a hugely popular talent show, and yet it didn't really manage to win against the nature documentary presented by Stephen Fry. Stay Close, I'm not too surprised because I think it was more of an obscure kind of Netflix series, but it is a shame because it is a really great piece of drama from James Nesbitt, so it is a shame that it didn't do a little bit better than it did here. And then Battle 7, we got Celebrity Lego Masters that got 50% of the vote, and then Frozen Planet 2 that was at 33%, and then Green Planet at 17%, and Britain Gets Singing at only 0%. Now I included Celebrity Lego Masters because it was a different format when it was on before, and Lego Masters hasn't been on for a few years as well, so I think it kind of counts by its point as a new show. A bit similar to when I included Changing Rooms last year. But I was surprised that it beat both Sir David Attenborough series, really, because you think how popular Sir David Attenborough is. And yet, it's Green Planet and Frozen Planet 2, but didn't come anywhere near the Celebrity Lego Masters, which is really quite weird. And you think, Sir David Attenborough, we all gather around to watch his shows. It's very bizarre. And then Battle 8 is where basically we had the Sandman Wednesday, Light and Magic, and Fantastic Beasts and Natural History. The Sandman, Neil Gaiman series, 67% of the vote. That's really quite a good outcome for the Sandman. And then Wednesday, 24%, and then Light and Magic at 10%. Fantastic Beasts and Natural History only 0%. I was kind of surprised with Wednesday, really, because I thought Wednesday would offer a bit of stronger competition for the Sandman. You think it's been this massive cultural phenomenon. The TikTok have been going crazy with it, and yet the Sandman won by quite a bit. So it is a little bit odd that it wasn't a bit closer, really, between the Sandman and Wednesday. And then Battle 9, we've got The Time Traveller's Wife with 43% of the vote, The Walk-In second with 36%, Tom Daly Homecoming third with 14%, and Rowing Home with Jordan North at 7% of the vote. Now, this one, it's kind of what I expected, really. I kind of thought, it would be the Stephen Moffat Time Traveller's Wife series that would come out on top. The Walk-In is a really great series, and I definitely recommend, checking it out. It is quite hard hitting though, and it's quite a hard watch the way it deals with racism and the injustice of it all, and the way that these terrorist, extreme, racist hate groups essentially manage to brainwash people. It is a very hard watch, but it is a really, really great drama, so I definitely recommend checking it out. And of course, Tom Daly's Hell for Homecoming and Going Home with Jordan North are, really great shows too. Really remarkable what both people managed to do with their, efforts in aid of comic relief. So I definitely, recommend, giving that a check, giving that a watch. And then for Battle 10, we've got Litvinenko with 63% of the vote, Werewolf by Night with 31% of the vote, and A Spy Among Friends with 6% of the vote. Litvinenko did really well to beat Werewolf by Night. You think Werewolf by Night is this, big, Marvel series on Disney Plus, this one-off, Marvel TV special. And, you think how popular it's been as well. It's been hugely popular. A lot of people admiring it for its direction. It had this, really striking horror imagery. And I've talked about it before on this channel as well, because it's a really great piece of TV. But Litvinenko beating Werewolf by Night, that is really quite some going. That is really not what I expected. I mean, Litvinenko is a really great series, and David Tennant is absolutely brilliant in it, as you would expect. His Russian accent is so very convincing, but no, I really was surprised that it wasn't Werewolf by Night that came on top there. And then they had like a wildcard round as well, and in this one we had Limitless Win, Anton Dex Limitless Win, that won with 66% of the vote, and then the John Bishop Show with 14% of the vote, Ice Age Scrap Tales 11% of the vote, and Richard Hammond's Crazy Contraptions with 9% of the vote. Now this is one I think could have gone either way, really, because a lot of them are quite obscure. The John Bishop Show, for example, is quite niche, as is Ice Age Scrap Tales and Richard Hammond's Crazy Contraptions. So in some respects, it's kind of obvious that Anton Dex Limitless Win would come out on top. But in others, I did wonder if John Bishop's fan base would have meant that the John Bishop Show may have just done it. Certainly is a very funny series. Some of the comments that he makes, certainly makes some quite amusing comments about the government and how he's not impressed with them and the Tories and things like that. Certainly it's always one of my favourite shows of the week when it's on. So then heading into the semi-finals, for the first battle we've got Moon Knight that won with 68% of the vote, She-Hulk with 21% of the vote, and then Celebrity Lego Masters with 11% of the vote. It was always going to be, it was always going to be between Moon Knight and She-Hulk, I think, with that one. Moon Knight and She-Hulk being, Marvel series. But I'm not really too shocked that Moon Knight beat She-Hulk. Just to think Moon Knight had this, brought this really unique approach to the MCU with the dissociative personality disorder and the more sort of horrific vibe. The way that it played with the idea of the unreliable narrator and can we trust Max Spector or can we not? She-Hulk, it was a really great show, but it was not traditional Marvel. We're a bit closer to traditional Marvel than Moon Knight, so I think people just want something different from superhero stuff at the moment. I'd say, it's not too shocking, and Celebrity Lego Masters, it was a very great one-off for Channel 4, but it was never going to beat Moon Knight. And then battle number 2, we had Limitless Win, Anton Dex Limitless Win, winning 50% of the vote. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special coming second place with 40% of the vote. And Peacemaker only got 10%, which is really odd because you think, Peacemaker, how it went viral last year. I mean, there was a lot of people talking, especially about that title sequence, and it was a really funny series from James Gunn. He had a lot of his sort of signature style, and I really thought that with the votes it would be a bit closer between Peacemaker and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. And I thought that maybe one of those two would come out on top. But it seems like the James Gunn vote maybe split it and allowed Anton Dex Limitless Win to win. Either that, or it's because a lot of my followers are UK based because I'm from the UK, so a lot of them had seen Anton Dex Limitless Win and not the James Gunn series. But even so, I was really expecting it would be more between the James Gunn stuff, really. And then for the third battle, we've got The Devil's Hour, which won with 45% of the vote. And then Time Traveller's Wife and The Year on Planet Earth came joint second at 27% each. Now this one didn't really surprise me because when I was doing the polls I got a lot of people tweeting me saying how much I wanted The Devil's Hour to win. So it seems that The Devil's Hour is quite a fan base. I suppose when you think you got Peter Capaldi who's playing Gideon in it, for example. Really great turn from Peter Capaldi, and it's by Stephen Moffat as well. Two hugely popular names in the TV industry, so I suppose in that respect it really isn't too much of a surprise. The Year on Planet Earth, did well to come out on top against the Sir David Attenborough series. It did, very well. And The Time Traveller's Wife, did well as well. For Stephen Moffat series, but without such a popular lead like you got, with Devil's Hour. But Devil's Hour definitely deserves that. It was a very great series, and I can't wait for the future seasons that are confirmed for Amazon Prime. And then for the fourth battle, the Sandman, blimey, the Sandman really did get quite a bit of a vote against Litvinenko. The Sandman came away with 89% of the vote, absolutely massive 89% of the vote. And Litvinenko, 11%. That was 11% for Litvinenko. Two really great series, but I did think, going in that the Sandman will be the one to come out on top. You think how popular it's been on Netflix, it has been this hugely popular series on Netflix, and the fact that it's Neil Gaiman behind it as well. Such a great writer, he does so well with his TV stuff, and I really do admire with a Sandman as well some of the heightened concepts that it goes for. Litvinenko, is as I say an absolutely great series. David Tennant is really fantastic in it, but it was never really going to beat the Sandman, I don't think. So going into the final round, there were some really, really strong shows in the final round. You had The Sandman, The Devil's Hour, Ant and Dec's Limitless Win, and Moon Knight. I'd say the weakest out of that lot was probably Ant and Dec's Limitless Win. Because whilst I do enjoy that show, I don't think it's quite as good as some viewer shows Ant and Dec do. But looking at the results, The Sandman absolutely smashed it again, 85% of the vote. Nothing else really came close. Moon Knight was second with 7% of the vote. The Limitless Win was third with 5%, and Devil's Hour came last with 3% of the vote. Which is a bit of a shame, because Devil's Hour deserved a bit more, and I think Moon Knight kind of did as well. But yeah, I've got to hand it to The Sandman. It is an absolutely fantastic TV series. I really do like this kind of otherworldly aspect to it, the way it plays with concepts of dreams and things like April, who's like this what's called a dream vortex, and it really does play with that idea of this god in a sense who's basically in charge of a dream realm, and how he's forced to take action because of the actions of this young girl who's a dream vortex, and how she threatens to bring the whole thing apart, tear the whole thing apart. I thought it was a really quite a clever series, hugely creative, and I know it's based on the comic series as well, but I do think it really feels like one of the most sort of unique shows on TV right now. Really, really great series. Of course, like Litvinenko, it did have David Tennant in as well, although he only had a very small part in the final episode. It was just basically his voice with Georgia Tennant in that really great story about a cat and the cat god, which was really quite a fun story. Then you had that one with Arthur Darvill about taking that creature, kidnapping that creature and holding him in a basement, and that creature helping him with his creativity to come up with a story, which I thought really quite a novel concept. But Tom Sturridge great as the Sandman as well. I mean really, really good series. So you can't really begrudge the Sandman winning that poll. It really does deserve it. So the Sandman, when it comes to the end of the decade, the Sandman will be facing WandaVision, which was the winner of the 2021 poll, and Stage, the winner of the 2020 poll. I can't really imagine Stage offering much competition against the Sandman, although I think WandaVision stands a bit more of a chance. It's kind of interesting how so far two of the winners have gone for that very kind of weird, kind of heightened reality approach. They've both gone for that very kind of surreal kind of angle. It is very interesting that they're both very surreal shows with very strange imagery. So it does say something about about the kind of shows that capture the public interest, that people really like these more bizarre, outlandish ideas at the moment. And it will certainly be interesting to see who wins the Best New Show 2023 poll. I think Secret Invasion stands quite a good chance because it's a Marvel show to start with, and then you've also got Samuel Jackson, who's hugely iconic as Nick Fury, and there's also rumours of Chloe Bennett reprising her role as Daisy Johnson as well, who was quite a big fan favourite character from Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I think that probably stands quite a good chance. apart from Secret Invasion, I'm not really sure what else could do it really. I can't really think of any other shows that could do it. Maybe Generation V, which is the Boys spin-off, might do it, but then The Boys Diabolical didn't really do that well in the 2022 polls. It seems like there's not as much appetite for The Boys spin-offs as well for The Boys itself. So it might be Secret Invasion that does it, to be honest. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the best new show of 2022? Do you agree with my Twitter followers that the best 2022 show is The Sandman? And who do you think might come on top when it comes to the best new show of 2023? Now, I just thought of another one that might do it. If rumours are true, Doctor Who Confidential could be returning under a new name, Doctor Who Unleashed. So it could be Doctor Who Unleashed that comes out with the best new show of 2023, perhaps. But, what show from 2023 do you think might stand a good chance of coming out on top? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.